You know what you're doing when it comes to library marketing, but sometimes it can be very difficult to get our library leaders on board with our marketing ideas. I've got 5 tips for you in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Hursh from superlibrarymarketing.com. Head on over there, go to the bottom left-hand corner, and you can sign up for email notifications every time I post. Plus, I'm always looking for nominations for Kudos. I like to highlight libraries doing great work in promotions, and you can nominate a library by clicking on the Library Marketing Show tab. Let's begin today's episode with Kudos, and our Kudos Award today goes to the Eugene Public Library for an article that I just came across randomly, organically on Google. The Eugene Public Library, along with its foundation, have paid for a short story dispenser in their local airport, and there was some press coverage about it. It was very cool. I've heard of these short story dispensers before, but I have never seen one in person. And this story has a nice photo in it, talks about how the dispenser works, the kinds of stories that Eugene Public Library decided to highlight on the dispenser. There are different lengths of stories, so travelers can get a story, get engaged with the library, and I just think it's great coverage. So good job, Eugene Public Library. Okay, let's get into today's topic. What to do when the library leaders you're working with are not listening to your marketing advice. I've had a couple of viewers ask for some help in this area. I think it's something that everybody deals with on occasion. I have 5 tips. These are things I have done in my own work, and I hope they'll be helpful to you. So tip number 1 is to really take some time to understand the perspective of the leader that you're speaking with. I always wonder if there are issues that they're dealing with that they're not disclosing to me, like budget issues. Perhaps they are risk averse because whoever they're reporting to is leaning on them to be more conservative in whatever way. Or perhaps it's just a misunderstanding, or they need to be you need to do a little education with them on why you want to do this marketing thing or make this change. It's helpful to ask open-ended questions to try to get at the source of what their aversion to your advice is. Tip number 2 is data. Collect data all the time about all the things, as much data as you can, because you never know when you're going to need that data to make a case for something in marketing in the future. And most leaders respond to data. So if, for example, you have leaders who are asking you to do certain kind of post on social media, and you're seeing that those posts are not engaging with your audience and are impacting your overall marketing, but if you have your insights to show that, you're going to be able to make the case to the leaders. Tip number 3 is to remember that library leadership and supervisors are a target audience, just like everyone else. So you may need to target your message to that audience. I once heard someone who was very smart, who works with library leadership, who said, like I said before, data is very important to them, but sometimes data told in a story is even more impactful for persuading a leader. So you might use some storytelling, patron stories, as you're making your case to your leaders. Tip number 4 is to just seek those small wins. I have a story I tell often about a library blog. I wanted to start a blog at my former library. It took me 5 years to get that going. And there were little steps that I won along the way, like I won permission to do a little bit of storytelling on social media instead of doing a blog. And I celebrated those small wins as steps toward my bigger goal. So be sure this is helpful for you for mental health. Make sure that you celebrate those small wins and collect data on how well they do so that you can continue to make the case for that bigger marketing ask. And tip number 5 is to just be patient and persistent. I'll use my blog example again. 5 years is a long time. I did get frustrated along the way, but patience and persistence paid off. I thought of it almost like a marketing campaign for my library leadership, and I just kept giving them the same data, more stories about how this could be helpful. Over time, I was able to convince them, and now they have a thriving blog. So hopefully those 5 tips will help you. And I bet my viewers have other tips for helping to get leadership of the library, maybe it's your board members, get them on board with your marketing ideas, let's share some tips with each other down below in the comments. That's it for today's episode, but my channel is full of other videos with helpful tips for library marketing. If you want to continue to learn, head on over to this next video. I'll meet you there.